You know that feeling, right? Your plans for the night suddenly get canceled and your whole evening just opens up. Now, what's that feeling that washes over you? Is it this amazing sense of peace and freedom, or is it more like a rising tide of panic? Well, today we're going to dig into what makes all the difference. It seems like such a simple question, doesn't it? But wow, the answer reveals so much about what's going on inside us. For a lot of us, an empty block of time feels less like a gift and more like a problem we have to solve, a void we need to fill fast. Let's meet someone who knows that feeling all too well. So, this is Nam. He's a 32-year-old project manager, and his life is pretty much the dictionary definition of busy. And for him, a packed schedule wasn't just a schedule, it was proof that he was successful, that he was in control. I mean, look at this. Nam's life was this perfectly built fortress designed to keep any and all quiet moments out. His days were jam-packed with work, and his nights and weekends completely booked with dinners, coffee, parties, you name it. He made sure there was never, ever a moment of downtime, because honestly, he was terrified of those empty spaces. And here's the crazy part, right? The central paradox of his life. His calendar was absolutely overflowing, but all that frantic running around was just a mask for this deep inner emptiness. He was literally running from the silence, totally afraid of what he might find if he ever stopped. So picture this. One Friday night, Nam has the perfect date all lined up. Fancy restaurant, everything's set. But then this massive storm just rolls into the city. The roads flood, and his date cancels. And just like that, poof, his meticulously planned evening is completely washed away. And this right here is where the panic kicks in. He's suddenly alone, totally unplanned, and his first instinct is just scramble, fill the void. He tries everything. Turns on the TV, nope, bored in minutes. Opens his laptop to work, can't focus for a second. Grabs a book, can't even get past the first page. He's scrolling social media, which only makes him feel worse. Every attempt to distract himself just cranks up the anxiety. So he's pacing his apartment like a caged animal. And then, bam, this harsh truth just slams into him. All his busyness, all his plans, they were all external. On the inside, he had no capital, nothing of his own to fall back on. His rich schedule was built on a really poor spiritual life. But then, something cuts through the noise of the storm outside. He hears a guitar. It's coming from his neighbor's apartment. It wasn't perfect, not by a long shot, but it was so genuine. It was his neighbor, a retired teacher named An, who was just perfectly content, enjoying his own company. And this is where things get really interesting. Right as Nam is wrestling with all these thoughts, the power goes out, and a knock at his door is about to change his entire perspective on, well, everything. It's his neighbor, An, holding a candle, and he shares this incredible piece of wisdom. He says that hobbies, like playing the guitar, aren't just silly things to pass the time. Oh no, they are essential. They're like a backup battery for the soul. When the outside world drains you completely, this is what you use to recharge yourself. What An was describing really is what we're calling an inner treasure. It's something meaningful that you can do all on your own. It doesn't depend on anyone else, and it fills you up with a sense of pride and peace. And for Nam, it was like a light bulb went off. This was exactly what was missing from his life. Okay, so Nam's story is a huge lesson, but how do we actually apply it to our own lives? How can you start building your own treasure chest, so to speak? Well, lucky for us, the source material breaks it down into 4 really clear, totally doable steps. It all starts with an honest look at yourself, then you rediscover things you used to love, build a small but consistent habit, and finally, you totally redefine what useful time even means. All right, step 1. This one kicks off with a really important question. How do you tell the difference between a real, soul-nourishing treasure and just, a distraction? A great way to figure this out is with something called the pride test. The formula is actually super simple. It's all about joy plus pride. Think about it. A distraction, like mindlessly scrolling or binge-watching a show, might be fun in the moment, sure, but how do you feel after? Kind of empty, maybe even a little guilty, right? But a true treasure that leaves you feeling fulfilled, proud of yourself. That's the secret sauce. And for step 2, you've got to dig into your past to find your future. Seriously, think way back. What did you absolutely love to do as a kid? Was it drawing, writing stories, building weird contraptions? So often, our real treasures are buried under years of people telling us to do something more productive. It's time to dig them up. So what happened to our guy, Nam, after that fateful, stormy night? Did he actually do any of this? Let's jump back into his story and see how putting these ideas into practice completely changed his life. So his journey kicks off with that big moment of crisis during the storm. Inspired by his neighbor, he goes out, buys a sketchbook, and starts a small 30-minute daily habit of just drawing. And look, it wasn't easy at first, but he stuck with it. He was slowly, sketch by sketch, filling up his inner treasure chest. And then came the real test. Fast forward a few months, Nam's at the airport. And you know how this goes. His flight gets delayed. Not by a little bit. By 4 hours. Now, this is a scenario that would have sent the old Nam into an absolute tailspin of frustration and panic. But the change is just night and day. The old Nam would have been pacing and complaining, desperately trying to fill the time. But the new Nam, he's completely calm. He just finds a quiet corner, pulls out that sketchbook, and gets totally lost in drawing. You see what happened here? What was once a 4-hour punishment had become a 4-hour gift. It was an opportunity. For the new Nam, that time just flew by because he was completely and happily engaged with his inner treasure. And that's really the heart of it all. This is the ultimate takeaway. True wealth isn't a calendar packed to the brim. It's having an inner world so rich, so full, that you can be genuinely happy and at peace entirely by yourself. That storm didn't just cancel a date for Nam. It broke down the walls he had built around himself and helped him find a source of strength that had nothing to do with anyone else. So I'll leave you with this question. Your own inner treasure is out there, waiting to be discovered or rediscovered. What will you build first?